Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start off with the public defender program, where last month we talked and the auditors came up with a better way to do it, more simple than the way we had it last month, and less confusing, hopefully. First, we need to rescind the motion to deappropriate the funds from 1000-360127 and 1041-0131 and request a new line in the department budget in the county general for public defender.
I move that we rescind the motion to deappropriate funds from 1036-01-27 and 1000-41-01-31.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Then the request for a new line and the county general for public defender.
We need to vote on that, or is that?
Just acknowledge that it's okay for us to set it up for them. Okay.
I move that we advertise an additional appropriation in the amount of $200,000 from the county general fund to fund this program through the end of the year.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right.
Thank you.
I need approval for the minutes for April 14th. Everybody had a chance to see that. Any other corrections to that?
Yeah.
Dan, what'd you say?
Yes. I think he said yes.
I said I saw it.
That'd be approving read. Treasurer's report for April. Everybody had a chance to see that?
That's all.
Everybody's nodding yes. Clerk's report for February. Everybody had a chance to see that? Nodding yes.
I've got it.
Department reports. We'll just highlight.
Good morning. Not a lot to report other than the summer construction season is upon us. We've already started our county-funded paving. The community crossings paving will be to follow. We've got a bridge out for bid, and I believe it's getting ready to start construction real soon. Get ready, we will be starting our normal summer chip seal program the 1st of June. Other than that, business as usual. Any questions?
A couple of you last questions. 850 East, bridge being replaced.
Yes, started yesterday, back open by the weekend.
So it's just about a week.
Yeah.
And then different ones have asked, and I know this isn't your, since you don't work for the state highway department, the NES 64. East of Oklahoma City is closed.
There's 2 culverts I think they're replacing, this to be like 10 days each. I don't think that they said they would open that 24th maybe.
So it closed last week, and then
Yeah,
I know that some of the individuals that live there on the northeast side of Oakland City are.
Yeah, they're using our roads as temporary unofficial detours. We've had a few little issues.
Yes.
Obviously, the state's detours are always on state highways, but
Right. Is that a situation like, they said whenever they close, he's going to use Lyles as an unofficial? Will we be able to get any reimbursement for that one there too?
and that's the thing on that one is, I don't think they did any, usually they'll go out and call me and they'll record the road and we'll talk, and so It being a short closure, I don't know how much damage will get done, but that one they treat a little different, almost like they don't think they're gonna damage anything, so they didn't worry about it too much. So if we get damage, it'll be a long battle fight, but we did supply them with an unofficial deed on that.
Okay. My concern with that is those bridges across South Fork and all that. I followed 2 semis through there the other day. So
Nice.
and they're not rated for that because those are wooden deck bridges, I believe.
Just posted out there, do you remember?
It's posted, it says no trucks. And yeah, it's posted, I'm pretty sure, but they're tearing that road up. I was through there, the day it was raining, up in Thursday, Friday. It was a mess. And then Sunday, it was like, he was driving in Evansville, there's so much traffic on it, so. And I can only imagine it's Toyota.
Those bridges, ours,
We have,
I think the wooden deck bridge is actually pikes, isn't it?
the big one, they actually closed that road, correct?
The first one,
They closed that first road,
the
right?
first road is closed. It's all rock, but the one that goes out closer to the refuge, past the Buck Marsh and all that.
We do have a wooden deck bridge out there.
That'd be ours across the South Fork.
Looking up to see what they're saying about the closure real quick, so you know. So they're still saying the one closure, beginning 5-4, will be closed. What's that now? Close 5-4, I'm gonna look at the other one and see what it says. Beginning Monday, 5/18, they're gonna close that one. The next one is until May 22nd. We should have both of them done in that back open May 22nd, what they're saying.
Thank you. You might keep an eye on the roads.
Yes.
Sheriff's Department.
I don't really have anything. I provided you and then Craig a copy of what I had, the inspectors that are going to do.
Health Department.
We've been really busy with septic and septic issues. As you can see, there's 12 new, which is a lot for us at once. So, we've been really busy with that. We've had lots and lots and lots of calls to the health department trying to work through this 5-stage plan that the governor put out, trying to clarify things for different groups. And so that's been keeping us really, really busy. We've been very fortunate. We are at 8 COVID-19 cases for the county, and 7 of those are recuperated. So we're doing really well with that. The nursing homes have did a great job in our county as keeping visitors, like screening people, everybody that goes into the nursing home and keeping visitors out. And so we've been very fortunate in that area. So that's really good. I did get notified over the weekend that the state would like to set up a site, the Alton site. And we're working with Charlie Woodruff at the fairgrounds. He's been really helpful in helping us try to get a site for that. And so I look for that site to be opening in the next week or so. And it will be at the fairgrounds, and we will get you more information as we get it. We're just in the beginning stages of getting that site set up. One of the things that we've had lots and lots of calls about is the Little League and the sports groups are very anticipating opening another season. And so we had to get that clarified with the governor because it's kind of confusing with the 5-stage plan. But it will be June 14th before they can practice or have any games. So some of them will run into practice May the 24th. I think Derek helped with that somewhat too, but we've got that clarified and it should be out now to all the Little League groups. That is June 14th, and that means any kind of practices with any kind, not just Little League, softball, soccer, any kind of group like that. June 14th is when the governor approved to release all those practices. So that hopefully will clarify things. Just really, really busy with lots and lots of questions from the public related to concerns in the community. If you all don't have anything for me, I have another conference call with the state. I'm gonna go ahead and head out, but if you have any questions,
I think you're good. Thank you for your hard work.
no problem.
Craig, that bridge has an operating rating of 45 tons, so it is actually okay for some of this process. But I know timbers doesn't hold up as long as everything is.
Okay.
Or structural wise, it can.
Oh, anything else? Old business, amendment number 3 to the salary schedule. And that is to, or we changed a couple of things.
The director, we added the money for the second one because of the retiree. We added overtime to the superior and court reporter line, superior court reporter, and increased overtime for the circuit court reporters.
I have no questions on that.
Need a motion?
Yeah.
Make a motion, second.
Have a motion, have a second. Have a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. New business, highway department makes a request to hire 3 additional people for retirement. Are they all leaving at the same time?
Actually, one, effective last date was May 1, so I'd like permission to immediately replace him. And then 2, their effective date is May 28, so I'd like permission for the 1st of June to replace those. That's when they will be off the payroll. No severance owed them or anything.
The May one, we're still paying. The May one, we're still paying. One more time.
Pay what?
The May one, we're still paying one more.
Oh, right, one last date, right.
So they've used all their days and all that, there's no severance or?
Correct. Yeah, when they're officially done, they're officially done.
Okay.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thank you.
EMS request to increase DMT pay paramedic level.
He's not here.
He told me he was, that's why I sent that to you. He told me he'd be here to ask.
Mhm.
But we had an EMT that's received their paramedic last week, so he has to increase them from advanced to a paramedic level. But I sent you that email, and he said he'd be here.
Mhm.
So it's just the qualifications have changed.
Yes,
So this isn't an overall,
no, just one person,
well, they got their certification.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was misunderstanding.
I didn't read that right, I thought you wanted to take all the EMTs.
Yeah, that's what
No.
I was looking. So it's just one that's passed the certification,
We have to change our numbers in our.
Yes,
so we'll exceed the 24 or whatever.
yeah, we won't exceed that, but.
I'll make a
I think
motion
I
that
have-
we advertise correct the numbers to be paid the newly certified paramedic, the correct wage. Is that a good motion?
I don't know that we even need to advertise, I think I just.
Well, I thought our salary schedule showed so many and so many.
It does, and I'll need to change that, but I don't think we have to advertise for it.
Well, if we don't advertise, then
Just reduce
Yeah.
one and
Mhm.
increase the other one.
So you think we'll be under the total number then?
Yes, we will be.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we'll be at the total number.
Okay.
We won't be under.
Okay.
For the total EMT paramedic,
So you're increasing the number on one and decreasing
Decreasing
the
on the
number
other.
on the other.
he's not gonna hire anybody to replace that EMT.
So we won't exceed the 25 full-time positions.
That's exactly right, but I think we're actually at 24 because they added that floater last year
Right.
and took it away.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
I'm the overall understated.
Have one motion for that or not?
Sure.
Need a motion to approve.
Or we need to change it.
To increase the wage from the EMT wage to the paramedic wage.
Okay. I move that we, increase the EMT who recently qualified for paramedic level wage to the paramedic wage and adjust the salary schedule.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright. Clerk requests the transfer of 2,500 from 010123 part-time into 010121 part-time.
In addition to the transfer, he'll have to come back next month and ask for an additional appropriation as well.
What a reason why we reduce that.
Yeah.
I just looked at that, I mean, it's, the request was 30, and when we did that, year-to-date, for 6 months was 10.5, so I don't know why, unless something was said in discussion in those meetings, that he didn't need that.
I remember it was contentious.
But looks like, 17 was like 28, 18 was 24, the 19 budget was 30, and we dropped back to 10, so it's probably definitely cut him short. So.
He's working three part-timers continuous right now
Right
through
here,
all of this.
make a motion to allow the transfer.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
On abatement, filed and on time. Need a motion to approve their abatement.
Paperwork is correct.
I'm sorry.
Paperwork.
Yes, and on time. And the governor actually extended that. I think it's June 4th, something like that. So it's possible we may have additional ones for you to approve at the June meeting. But right now, this is all we have.
Motion to have a second.
So I'm sorry, I got who made the motion. Thank you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Sherry,
Mhm.
you'll be able to probably have minutes from those budget hearings when we talk about what we're gonna do with clerk's budget. Is that something that you can search
Mhm.
on?
You want me to send them to you?
If you, yeah, if you don't mind.
Does
You
everybody
just have
want?
the text to it if you resend it.
Yeah, okay. So.
Just so we know before he comes for an additional. He had somebody say he wasn't doing any work. He had somebody that he hired, and he told us he had no work for us.
Right,
Right.
we want to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last on the agenda here is, the council budget meeting schedule. Would be, Wednesday, July 15th at 8:30 a.m.
How long is that meeting projected to be?
all day
All day? It's an-
with those departments.
Okay, it is an all-day meeting, that's why.
That one would be, yes. So at last year's budget meetings, we talked about maybe changing up the format so that instead of having 2 days of department meetings, some of your department heads didn't need to really come to the meeting. So if you approve this schedule, then that takes it down to 1 day for department meetings. And then you would actually meet with the commissioners, highway, EMS, circuit court, superior court, possibly the health department and the sheriff's department. And you would do that on Wednesday then. We can start early in the morning and then whenever we're done,
Then we're done.
you're done.
They just want to approve what I send in.
Be a lot easier, wouldn't it?
And then the rest of us will request that the rest of us put Word documents with our budgets.
Why
And
you want to make
explain,
changes or
yes.
anything of that nature.
Yes. And then the plan is to actually go through every budget, every department budget, and highlight all the increases and highlight all of the decreases to help you just in a split second, look at them and tell where these changes are. And that will-
Get a lot better. We need to advertise this as our schedule for public meeting.
I don't,
So this get noticed and posted.
Right.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've ever actually advertised it, but yes, we do post it as soon as you guys approve it.
I'll make a motion to accept this meeting.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. And then, it's just, I was asking Sherry about us looking into a resolution for the new jail tax that we get bills or estimate of bills before it gets finished. Where we don't get blindsided by a bill that we don't know what's coming.
They don't have a budget yet, do they?
No.
No.
They don't even have design.
They,
They don't even have design.
they picked the architect.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. I don't think they should, I don't know if we have to make a resolution or what we have to do, but I think they need to understand that as they go through these phases, they need to get approval from us and make sure that we're on board with financing it the way that they're planning on doing it, going forward, and just moving on with it and not, coming to us with a bill when they don't even have any money appropriated for the project. I just don't see how they can do that.
What I told Jay I can do is I can contact the other auditors and see who has jail tax in their county, and if any of them do have resolutions that set it up so that what you're asking for, they've already got it in written form, and then you guys can see what they did, and then you can decide if you want to do that or if you want to change it in some way.
Yeah, further, we've been contacted by a few different firms that offer like a clerk of the works type position where we have a representative for the county who represents us during the construction process. And I'm not comfortable with approving any money for them until they at least interview some of those folks and find out if that might make sense. Starting on three guys or two guys and a gal that are working part-time to start on managing the budget on a however many $35 to $45 million project, I just think is irresponsible.
I'll see as quickly what I can find out
Okay.
and then get that information to you.
I don't think any of us or any of them are actually ever built $1 million buildings before and have any clue what we're doing.
Correct, and if we're just gonna hire somebody and let them run the whole project without any kind of checks, I can't see doing it that way.
We've got some trouble before.
They've never come to us with a final budget, the final, what they intend to spend. The last time I saw anything from them, it had 3 or 4 different pieces on it, and none of them were completing the project the way that they want to. Have they acquired ground? Have they,
Not publicly.
not publicly?
No.
Well, I say that,
Yeah.
not that has
Not that we
been
know of.
made mention of in a meeting. No.
We hired the architect firm, and talk publicly about what sign they want, for sure. But, or the commissioners have talked about that.
So yeah, that'd be interesting to hear what they have to say. I don't know what our rights are. Our ability is to resolution, or at least to write them a letter that we sign that tells us how we want to proceed with it.
I can also, just for information, I can contact the attorney that is handling the lawsuit regarding what got all this started and see what she says as well.
So I've just been expecting them to continue to report to us on it. We haven't heard anything, and I've also asked them to make sure that they could set aside money in the edit budget to cover the cost of it, because we don't have the jail tax alone isn't going to be enough to finance it. I'd also like them to talk to Humboldt and Associates and find out if they bond the project or whatever they're planning to do to fund it, what would the payments look like? Because they, at one point, we're discussing, well, we have $33 million worth of revenue for the project, or however many millions it's going to be, and so we can spend that much money. Well, if we bond that much money, the sum of the payments and the interest is going to be dramatically more than that. We don't want to get to the end of this project and have a bill, annual bill for the jail that we can't afford, and it takes us way over that budget. So, just thinking, yeah. So whatever we need to do for that, if that's going to a meeting.
I'll see what I can find out so far.
Oh, you ready?
Yeah.
I've given Jeremy and Ken some figures this week, looking deep into our financial situation. And I would suggest that the council contact the budget committee, and with reference maybe to look at those numbers. One other thing that I've done, the year 22 promises to be a very bleak year for finances. It's going to be a couple of 3 years before we can really analyze, the county can really analyze what these 600 layoffs is, how that's going to affect the county. And in a big way, it's going to affect all of the payroll funds. So I've contacted each clerk in the county and suggested to them that they pass the word on to the board of this situation that's going to be some effect, and it could be a great effect, on the amount of those funds that's going to be available in 22. This is a 2-year program set up for these payroll deduction funds. And the year 20 and 21 are going to be pretty bleak, let's face it. So, and I'm also suggesting to our council here that they look at this very carefully. We've got some commitments out there, and they're going to be difficult to handle financially in view of things that have been happening and what we don't know and all the uncertainties that exist at this time. And one of those I bring is the broadband that we're committed for. If we would happen to get that, that money is gonna have to be available in 22. And so this, so I've suggested to the clerks that they mention to their boards that when they look at their budgets in 21, starting soon, that they keep the year 22 in mind in case they want to set up some kind of a project that's going to be paid in 21 and 22. Because all these funds that we've been receiving have been pretty stable. And we've been advised by the Department of Finance, state of Indiana, that this, in the year 20 and the year 21, this money is going to be pretty well what we've all been receiving for a number of years. And we might just want to take that for granted when we set up some kind of a project and like this, not thinking about the year 22 as going to be really low on funds. It's bound to happen. It can't. We don't know what the state's problem is going to be, and we're all going to suffer in the same way, similar ways. Down. So I just wanted to let those folks know that in their planning to keep that in mind. Now, it's their business, but they all appreciated the fact that they said, well, yeah, it's good to know this. I said, well, we don't know now what the effect of that 600 people being laid off in the county is going to be. We don't know how many of those live in the county and live outside the county. And we always use Toyota as an example in this. We only get 20% of the payroll benefits. 80% of it goes outside the county every day. When they come to work, they take that edit fund and everything back with them. And they don't, of course, they won't pay anything on the jail tax at all to begin with. So this is just something to keep in mind, that we really are, these uncertainties just keep mounting. And we don't know what this is going to do to our tax base. We're right now at 2.4 billion that we're operating on this year. But how much this is going to factor in to that tax base and everything, I mean, there's just no way that we could know only. And we've got to be careful with how we handle things, with the commitments that we have and the money that we're probably not going to get in the year 22 as a result of what we're suffering and all these payoffs. Now, one good thing here, I've been pushing this census thing, and we're now in pretty good shape. At the present time, with all the effort that we've made and towards getting people to get their vote, their signing back in. South Gibson is leading the county and at 71% at this time. Our excuse me, our adjoining county, Warwick, is about that same deal. We're a few back, but we're with the state average at this time. But folks, we need those numbers. Now, you guys are gonna have to live with this for the next 10 years. And you better get out there and start making a friendship call. Just get the telephone book and call somebody and ask them in a friendly way. Say, we're very much interested and we know that everybody in the county of Gibson is going to be affected in some way or another in the next 10 years as with the numbers that are coming in and what we're going to wind up with. And it's, we've got to give Patty over at the chamber, give her a big effort. And they're just think of calling your neighbor and or some of your family and let them know here the situation of how important this census count is to this county and to this state of Indiana. So, so I'm just hopeful that everybody can kind of get on board with this census. We've had good cooperation from the radio and the newspapers, and like this, they're helping in many ways. But we're in a tight spot, folks, and this isn't going to be a pretty picture. And the big picture that I've been trying to look at with regard to what's going to happen to Gibson County in the next few years, we're not leaving a stone unturned to try to find out what we can that might be beneficial. And today I told you about the Duke set up for 5 years, so that you'll have a look-see and be pretty close to what you're going to be collecting through the Treasury Department each year for the next 5 years. Well, we've got this Toyota thing set up now in a similar manner. And you're going to know when you look at these deals, again, what you're up against and what money you're going to have to operate with as a result of taxation from Duke and Toyota. And of course, other things that are of lesser amounts, but very important. And I hear that the treasure collections and like this are pretty good. And thank heavens for that, because our friends and neighbors, some of them are out of business. And it's questionable who can pay taxes and who can't. This is something else. We've got to take a hard look at this and look at every possible thing that's going to maybe affect our county here in the next number of years through budgets, because now we don't really have any good idea. But believe me, Christy and I and others have been in the deal with Kim at the assessor's office. We're not leaving a leaf or a stone unturned to find out in the best manner in which we can, how all of this can eventually and now affect the finances in our county. And
Thanks, Bill.
these figures
I had a
are.
question on, I've had a couple of calls. They're asking about the property tax. Have they got a box set up outside yet?
That's what I was getting ready to tell
So
you.
there is a box that's set up outside the courthouse,
Yes, checks only.
checks only.
Yes, it's on the north side, the east side of the steps.
Northeast side of the steps.
Mhm.
I've had 3 or 4 people call and ask all that, so they just need to check, and if they want to return a stamped envelope,
Yep.
return that.
Mhm.
And then the other question that's come up in the last week or so is on the absentee voting. There's going to be an election.
Yes, I think, early voting is what, like Monday?
Yeah, it's.
through
Monday,
Friday, Saturday, Monday.
Saturday, and then noon on
Yeah.
Monday before the election.
It'll be 6 days, basically.
6 days of early.
Yeah, the
And the
week
deadline,
before,
you can actually call the election office to get a mail-in ballot, or you can go online and request one, and they send it to you and kind of cuts down on the time.
Okay.
Secretary of State's office.
I have applications in my truck that if you fill out, send them in, and they mail you back.
mail you the
And it's
ballot.
just 21st is the last day.
21st of May is the last day to
Yes.
request an absentee ballot
Well,
or a ballot,
yes.
mail in or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, that's just a couple of questions that I've had that I didn't have an exact answer and all that, so.
And I did want to report to you that as of last night, the treasurer said that we have collected 65% of the property tax monies owed.
Wow.
So that's pretty good, as many weeks as we've been closed and, people are cooperating and they're doing, what they've been asked to do. And so now we have the convenience of the drop box, so they're using that as well.
Yesterday was the deadline.
Yes, but they extended it,
Okay.
no penalties,
60
yeah.
days.
Send it till then. That'd be-
July 10th, I think.
Wow, if I'd
is
known
the
that.
Then you wouldn't be in the
Okay,
65%.
65%.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything else. Second.
Yes, yes.